session. So for today, we are going to continue with the topic of phones, right? In chapter 1, that's what we're talking about, okay? Phone call, vocabulary, and so on. So for today, we're going to have a reading. What is this going to help us for? Or how is this going to help us? Well, I want to listen to you guys reading and check the pronunciation of some words that you are going to find in this reading, okay? So we are not going to read alone. Actually, it's going to be more like a class reading, okay? Oh, all right. So, telephone tips. That's the first topic we have over here. Now, as you see, here is some advice for ESL learners about speaking in English on the phone. ESL, the meaning of ESL is English as a second language. Okay, so any person whose English is not their first language, then ESL, English as a second language. Any material you find like that is gonna be useful. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So let's see what's the first tip we have for speaking on the phone. Rodolfo, please read this paragraph.
Okay. Speak slowly and clearly. Listening to someone speaking in a second language over the telephone can be very challenging because you cannot see the person you are trying to hear. However, it may be even more difficult for a person you are talking with to understand you. You may not realize that your pronunciation isn't clear because your teacher and fellow students know and understand you. Pay special attention to your weak areas, such as R's and L's, or B's and V's, when you are at the phone. If you are nervous about using the phone in English, you may notice yourself speaking very quickly. Practice or write down what are you going to say and take a few deep breaths before you make a phone call.
Very good. Breath.
Cool.
Exactly. Okay, great. So here we have the first tip. Before we discuss this tip, do you have any new word, Telma or Rodolfo?
No, not for me in this paragraph.
Okay. No? All right. Now, what do you understand? What do you think about this first tip?
Well, sounds logical because sometimes by the telephone there's any kind of interference or static. I think is another word
Yes.
between the two parts we are talking about. We were talking at that moment. If, for example, I have the idea that speak by telephone is like speak by a radio, and
Okay.
there's because there's some interference. It's very common to use another acronyms or special words in order to avoid mistakes.
Okay.
Of course, in the radio, for example, forced armies and stuff like that,
Yes.
they have a special language that they use are what that is well there is special language that they are trained to use it. And when we are talking, in another hand, when we are talking in the telephone, you have not that kind of training. That why it's necessary to speak very slowly and clearly and have some and pay attention in the way that you pronounce your words, because if you don't do it, it's very possible that you can't express your real ideas to another person.
Okay. Very good. Thank you, Rodolfo. I agree with everything you said. Though it's important, even though you can think, right, that it's similar to speaking through a radio like the Army or Navy.
Mhm.
Let's try to uh, always make full sentences, okay? Yes, short sentences, but full sentences. What do I mean by this? Okay, probably a very, let's say, common example. A common example through a radio of the Navy could be like the eagle is arriving, okay? Or the eagle has arrived, right?
Mhm.
Now, that is a short sentence, but it's important to notice that it has the three important elements in a full sentence: subject, verb, and complement.
Mhm.
Okay? Remember that whenever you are creating sentences, whenever you are probably like this, writing down what you're going to say, and you practice, make sure that you create full sentences, okay?
Okay.
All right, very good. Thelma, anything you would like to add about this?
Uh, no,
No?
just no. Well, I think that we speak very clear, but I'm completely. I completely understand that we can pronounce very well.
Okay.
Because we don't make the practice to speaking and listen us. And that's a very different and compare with maybe a native or the same trade.
All right.
And, and that's why we have some problems with pronunciation, and they are very difficult
Mm-hmm.
to check.
Something I really, really recommend is let me show you an example. We have the word breaths, right? Breaths. Now, this could be a difficult word to pronounce in English. So, my recommendation is when you identify a new word or a difficult word to pronounce in class, ask the teacher to show you like how would it be written or how would it be said as we read it. Remember that in Spanish we read or we pronounce as we read, right? Like,
Usually, yes.
because for example, this one, if we read in Spanish, would be clearly, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. But in English, we have different pronunciations. So I recommend if you find a new word, ask the teacher to make the phonetics. Phonetics is that, the sound, okay? The phonetics of the word that you can read it and you can say, ah, this is how I say it. For example, breaths, okay? Breaths, breath,
Breaths.
you see? Now, this is not how you write it in English, but you can read it as if you were reading Spanish, right? And that's the pronunciation of this word. Okay? Take a few deep breaths, before you make a phone call. Now,
Okay.
not only take note in your notebook, right? Like, okay, this word is spelled like this and it is pronounced like this. No, practice. Take 5 minutes of your time or like in every day. Check the words that you the new words that you got the previous day, right? And practice. Okay? Remember, practice makes perfect. Okay? What in Spanish would be La práctica hace el maestro. In English is practice makes perfect. Okay? All right.
Oh, okay.
That's the correct like translation. Okay. Now that we have the first tip, we can move on to the next tip. Thelma, please read this one.
Make sure you understand the other speaker. Don't pretend to understand everything you hear over telephone. Even native speakers ask each other to repeat and confirm information from time to time. This is especially important if you are taking a message for someone else. Learn the appropriate expression that English speakers use when they don't hear something properly. Don't be afraid to remind the person to slow down more than once. Keep your telephone in an area that it's away from other noise distractions such as a radio or television.
Very good. Excellent. Okay, question. Have you ever spoken with a native speaker in English? They say something and you're like,
Yeah,
that happens frequently, right?
frequently over the movies, you can practice this. You try to understand without any subtitle.
Very good. Yes.
Very good exercise.
Yes, that is a very good way to practice your listening. Okay, to check if you understand every single word that you're hearing in the conversation, right? Now, this is very common to pretend that you understood what the other person said and you're like, just smiling, right?
Yeah.
So, don't be afraid to ask the person to repeat again. Okay? Now, these are expressions you can use. Can you repeat that? Come again. But this one has a specific intonation. It's like, come again, right? It's a rising intonation. Come again.
Come again?
Okay. Yes, again, not again. Okay. Again. Again.
Again. Come again?
Exactly. Like this. Come again. Now, others, when they definitely don't understand something, and this is very, let's say, informal because it's something that you can use with friends, is, huh?
Ah, yes.
This one is very common, okay? Huh? It's like, what did you say? Right? That's the meaning. It's just one expression because this is not a word. This is definitely not a word. It's more like an expression. But with that, you show that you didn't understand. Okay? Huh? And if you see the person, right, if you have a face-to-face conversation, you can even use your facial expression. Huh? Right? Like, what?
Oh, it's like, vea.
Exactly. But vea, it's more like a confirmation. And huh is more like, ¿cómo?
Interrogation.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, if you want, you can take note of these. These are phrases or sounds that you can use when you don't understand something, right? Now, if you want to be very polite, remember you can use expressions like, could you please, would you mind, right? For example, could you please slow down, right? Or would you mind repeating that? This is important, okay? If you want to sound polite, you use modal verbs.
Okay, I suppose that is the most recommended behavior, right?
Yes, for very formal stuff or when you're having a conversation with someone that is part of the enterprise, these are two options that you can use and they are very, very formal. Okay.
Mhm.
All right, very good. Can I erase this and continue?
Yes.
Yes, you can.
Perfect. All right, Rodolfo, practice with a friend.
Okay. Practice with a friend. Ask another student to practice talking on the phone with you. You may choose one night a week and take turns phoning each other at a certain time. Try to talk for at least 15 minutes. You can talk socially or role play different scenarios in a business environment.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have access to a telephone, you can practice by setting two chairs up back to back. Oh, the most important thing about practicing telephone English is that you aren't able to see each other mouth. It is
Mouth.
amazing how
Mm-hmm.
much mouth. It is amazing how much people live really without realizing.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, there's a lot of people who lip read, right? They see your lips so they understand better what you're saying. And some, well, um, no, I was going to say that with the pandemic, this was ruined, right? Because we have to use or to wear a mask. So that's like a disadvantage if you wear a mask. Now, just Rodolfo, setting, if you pronounce the T like a T, this is more of a London or UK pronunciation. In
Mm,
American pronunciation would be setting. Setting.
setting. Okay.
Yes. So,
My
mm-hmm,
my last teacher, my last classes um, were taught
mm-hmm.
in Academia Británica.
Ah, okay. Yes. That makes sense. Yes, that's why I needed to explain that, right? If you are trying to make a British accent, then yes, setting would be fine. Okay, but if you're trying to make more of an American
Setting.
accent, we change it. Okay, setting.
Okay. Okay. Excellent.
Perfect. Very good. All right. Excellent. Now, have you ever done this before? Like practice with someone?
No, I never done that.
Okay. Now, apart from your classmates, do you have any relative or friend that you know that speaks English and that you consider you can ask this person like, hey, help me, let's practice just for 15 minutes. I want to know if I can have a conversation through the phone with you.
Well, yes, I have a coworker.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, when no, I have a coworker who can be help me with that activity.
Who can be help me or who can help me?
Who can help me? Thank you.
Yes, who can help me? Okay, very good. Have you ever asked that to him before just to practice, not necessarily a phone practice, right, but to practice at work, like just speaking English to each other?
No, I never thought to do that because she is very skilled in the language.
Ah, okay. Okay.
But I don't know if she have enough patience for me. But I'm
Ah.
going, but I'm going to ask her.
Yes, I mean, give it a try. Even, I mean, if you know that she is, or that you consider that she is in an advanced level than yours, then that can be an advantage for you because you can set things from the beginning like, okay, I want to practice my English. If you listen that I make any error, please let me know.
Okay, excellent.
Okay? Don't take it the way that I have done that. Don't take it the way that I know I don't want to speak with this person because he knows better English than me and I just can't. All right?
Okay,
Change that mindset, right? If that's the case, and see it as an opportunity. All right?
all right.
And you, Thelma, do you have anyone who can practice with you?
Maybe my husband, but it's a little bit weird.
Is that what? Sorry?
It's a kind of weird.
Okay, but why?
But I, but he can speak very well.
All right. But
Mhm.
weird, why do you think it could be weird?
Yeah, and we try a couple times to speak in English, but in a few days we get tired and then we start to speak Spanish.
Okay,
But
okay.
with practice, yes, he could help me. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you consider that speaking every single day in English can be tiring and at some point boring, at least you can start by setting one day, right? Like, okay, let's talk just for 30 minutes English, right?
Yeah, it will be a good practice even for kids because I need them to talk. I need
Yeah.
them.
And it's good to start with your kids at home, right? Because if you know the language, that's gonna give them a little bit more confidence to speak and speak and speak.
Yeah.
Okay? All right.
Yeah.
So remember, if you have the opportunity to practice with someone, take advantage of that opportunity.
Yeah. I have my sister too. She lives in the States. Maybe
Perfect.
she could she could help me too.
And in that case, I mean, you could practice even a telephone call, right?
Yeah,
Because she is at the
it's
States.
gonna be a telephone call. And
Definitely.
yeah.
That's
and I think over the telephone is more difficult than if you
face to
talk
face.
face to face because over the phone the voice change a little bit. Over.
True. It's true. Okay, but there you have an opportunity, right? Or more than
Yeah.
one. You have more than one opportunities.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, excellent. So far we have 1, 2, and 3 tips. Okay, we have a
Okay.
couple more. Let's continue. This one, Rodolfo, please. Let me just go down a little bit, okay?
Okay. Use business. Is business or businesses?
Businesses.
Okay, thank you. Use businesses and recordings. There are many ways to get free telephone English practice. After business hours, you can call and listen to recorded messages. Write down what you hear the first time, and then call back and check if your notes are accurate. Use the phone in your everyday life. Call for a pizza delivery instead of going out to eat. Call a salon to book a higher appointment. You can even phone the movie theater to ask for the listings instead of using the newspaper. Some large cities have free recordings you can call for information such as your daily horoscope or the weather. Make sure that you aren't going to get charged for this number first, of course.
Yeah.
Some products have free phone numbers on the packaging that you can call for information. Think of a question you might want to ask and call the free number.
Mhm.
For example, call the number on the back of the cereal box and ask for coupons. You will have to give your name and address. Make sure you have a pen handy so that you can repeat the information and check your comprehension.
Okay, very good. All right, there is a big possibility that from our countries we don't have a full access to calls to the United States to these enterprises, right?
Mhm.
But another thing that you can also do is on YouTube, you can listen to mock calls. Let me put it over here. Mock calls. What are mock calls? Have you ever heard this term before?
No, I
Yeah,
never heard
I
that
heard
expression.
I heard that word, but in a website that is a sample or maybe, but I don't know if it has the same meaning.
Yes, by saying sample, I think that would be another good adjective for this. Mock calls are that, sorry. They are examples of calls that you can hear, for example, on a call center.
Ah, okay.
You can listen to a customer talking to someone who is part of the enterprise. Okay, so the exercise you can do over here is search for mock calls for what we have over here, businesses,
Mm.
or any other topic that you are interested in. You can look on YouTube for the mock call and try to pay attention to all of the call. Now, after you pay attention, try to make a summary of what you understood.
Okay, it would be a good exercise.
Yes, because you are proving yourself, let's say, you're proving yourself that you were able to understand something.
If you
Now,
have
if
enough,
you, aha, that's
if you
right, that's right. If you have doubts about something, still write it down as you remember and then listen again to the mock call and check if the information you wrote on your notebook was correct. Okay? If you cannot call anybody, right, in a business, you can use mock calls or recordings. All right?
Okay.
That's an extra tip. It's not like that over here, right? But it's something you can use. Okay, next tip. Thelma, please.
learn telephone etiquette, manners. The way that you speak to your best friend on the phone is very different to the way you should speak to someone in a business setting.
Hmm?
Many ESL speakers make the mistake of being too direct on the telephone. It is possible that the person on the other line will think that you are being rude or on purpose if you don't use formal language in certain situations. Sometimes just one word such as could or may is necessary in order to sound polite. You should use the same models you will use in a formal face-to-face situation. Take the time to learn how to answer the phone and say goodbye in a polite manner, as well as the various way one can start and end a conversation casual.
Okay, thank you. Do we have new words in this paragraph?
Mm,
Okay, and you, Rodolfo?
Sometimes.
No, neither do I.
Okay. All right. Now, for this, to learn more about telephone etiquette and phrases that you can use with friends and phrases that you have to use with business calls, you can go to the exercise or to the website we studied yesterday. One second. Let's just wait for this to load. Where was it? Here. These phone phrases. Do you see the Canva document?
Yes, I can see.
Okay, let me open the link when it appears here. It's taking long. It's taking its time. Okay, here we go. So to see different phrases that you can use, right, you have over here this information. You have informal and formal, right? Over here, same thing, introducing yourself. You have informal, right? And you have formal ways to introducing yourself. Asking, to speak with someone, you have informal ways and you have formal ways. Okay, as you see, you can use may, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so if you want to know like more, if you want to learn, more words that can help you with your telephone etiquette, this one is a good document to practice that. Okay?
Okay.
Now, I think that this one doesn't need too much explanation because even in Spanish, we know there's a phone etiquette too, right? We don't
Mhm.
speak the same way we speak with a friend as we speak to a coworker or someone who works at our same enterprise but in another place, right? Or probably somebody who has a higher position than ours. Okay, this is very clear. Okay, now this one. Practice dates and numbers. Rodolfo, please.
Okay. Practice dates and numbers. It only takes a short time to memorize English phonetic spelling, but it is something that you will be able to use in any country. You should also practice saying dates and numbers aloud. You and a friend can write out a list of dates and numbers and take turns reading them over the phone to each other. Record what you hear. Swap papers the next day and check your answers.
Very good. Excellent. This is super important, guys. Let's make a quick test. How do you say 60 in English?
60,
60,
Okay. How do you say 13 in English?
13.
13.
13. Very good. Excellent. Why do I ask these two numbers? These are very common numbers that ESL students or ESL people commit a mistake. Okay, and I don't know if at the beginning of your English learning process this was difficult for you. Some people confuse, but for real, they confuse a lot the teen numbers to the 10 numbers. Okay, and if you can practice with another person the pronunciation of these numbers, that it's gonna be very helpful when you get the opportunity to take a phone call at your work probably or any other type of call in English. Okay, so dates
Okay.
and numbers, super important to practice. Okay, now you can open this link over here to learn a little bit more of the phonetics. Now, I am not going to go deep into it, But I just want you to know that, for example, in Spanish, when we don't understand something, we usually say ve de burro or ve de, ¿qué? De vela, right? Now,
Mhm.
in English, you do the same, but there is already some words that you have to learn, right? Because they are like very, how do you say this? Um, they're like popular or well known, okay? Even though you can say A for apple, right? The common way of explaining what letter you're talking about is with these words, okay?
Mm.
That they are actually used also by the military, okay?
And aeronautics too.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Okay. So this for at least very formal calls, it's important to know at most of them, right? So that person or people can understand when you are like spelling something. Okay. Like, how do you spell your name? Oh, it's Eunice. Sorry, can you spell that again? But I didn't understand the two words. Okay, E as in echo, U as in, and you can use the words over here. U as in uniform, right? Nice. Ah, okay, got it. All right, this is very useful. Now remember, you can use other words if you remember, right? Or if you don't remember these words, you can use other words, no problem.
What does mean foxtrot?
Foxtrot, I don't remember right now. Let me check.
It's really, o
If I
sea,
remember exactly, it's a ballroom dance,
Mm-hmm. But quadruple
but a little bit
time.
old-fashioned.
Uh-huh. True. Yes, well, now it seems in movies, right? Because we don't do that anymore. But yeah,
yeah,
it's a ballroom dance.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because maybe for Americans it's a common word because
Exactly. If you don't remember that word, you can use something just like fox or flower, right? And that's totally valid. No problem. Okay, perfect. So, can you give me a general opinion of these tips that we just read?
Well,
yeah,
for me, very useful.
they are good.
Okay, useful and good. Anything else?
Uh,
Mm,
will be better if we practice.
Yes, definitely.
I
Okay,
like it because put order in my mind.
yeah, true. It helps you to like leave that fear of taking a phone call in English, right? Because it gives you a better idea of how to order your ideas or how to create that conversation in a better way.
Mhm.
All
You
right.
know,
Mm-hmm.
there's a couple days I were playing with an app, but one who teach English,
Yes.
and it has phrases and it save you when you repeat you record your
Uh-huh.
voice, and the app gives you one okay when you pronounce exactly like the
That's good.
the phrase, but they are very difficult for me because I was like 3 minutes for one phrase to pronounce it.
Really?
Yeah, because they are very like for me they are very difficult because
Okay.
but the phrases were very simple.
Mm-hmm.
But
But
I but I always got wrong pronunciation.
You
And
know, yeah, continue, finish your idea.
that's I was surprised because the expression was very easy.
Mhm.
It didn't have any difficult, but I always got wrong when I pronounced. at,
Okay.
at least for the app, but um, a couple times I got it, but it was difficult for me.
Now, do you have the opportunity to listen again to the reading?
The what?
Like, I believe that it's like, okay, this is the phrase, you have an audio,
Yeah,
you listen and then repeat.
yeah, yeah. I listened the phrase, I could read it, and I had to record my voice.
Okay.
And the app tells you, okay, and shows the next one.
Uh-huh.
But if you don't pronounce exactly,
Uh-huh.
it says repeat.
Repeat.
And I
Mm-hmm.
was,
Mm-hmm. A recommendation, Thelma, sometimes when I hear that you speak, I hear like you don't open your mouth too much as you speak. Okay,
maybe.
probably that is something that you need to improve. I mean, practice like A, I, E. Okay, try to, before taking that test right on the app, try to practice first the vowels, but trying to opening your mouth as much as possible.
Maybe it
Okay,
could, I could
yeah,
fix.
because when I hear you like you're trying to speak like this, like you're not wanting to open your mouth too much. Okay,
Uh,
so that can also affect the pronunciation of your word.
okay, maybe.
Hmm.
Mm,
So try that. Okay.
yeah,
All right.
I
Perfect.
will.
Anything else you want to add, guys, about those tips or your experience?
Not by the moment. I'm
Okay.
okay.
All right, so let's practice right now. We're going to do the similar activity we did yesterday. First, let's make this exercise. Phone practice number 2, taking a message. I'm going to send a link to the Zoom chat, sorry. You are going to take this test individually. Now, remember something. After you, let's say, after you selected the word, over here you have the opportunity to check if your answer, the word you selected is correct. Okay? So check that information out. Okay, check that information out as you are doing the exercise. Okay, individual work. Let's take this practice exercise. Let me know when you finish.
Um, can I have the link by
WhatsApp?
chat? By WhatsApp, yes.
Ah, true. You have to take it on your phone, right?
Exactly, because I have a limited use of navigation in my computer.
True. Okay, let me open WhatsApp right now so that I can send it to you, okay?
Thank you.
It's taking its time. Let's see. Okay. All right. I sent it. You are going to receive it in a couple of seconds. There you go.
I have it.
Perfect. Okay, let's practice with that, guys. Let me know when you finish.
Okay.
I finished.
Very good. Are all of them correct, Alma?
Two wrong.
2 wrong.
Mhm.
Okay. We will discuss them in a second. Are you ready, Rodolfo?
Just checking the answers.
Okay, perfect.
I have 5 right.
5 right.
Yes.
Okay, let's do something. Let's discuss. I want to hear you reading the conversation, and I want to hear where you have the mistakes. Okay, tell me like, here, teacher, I have a mistake here. But let's practice. Okay, Thelma, you're gonna be Leslie. Rodolfo, you're gonna be Cameron. Okay.
Okay.
All right, let's do it.
Hello.
Hi, is this Leslie?
Um, yes, who's this?
It's Cameron here. Is Maria in?
No, she just stepped out for a moment. Can I take a message?
Yes, thanks. Could you ask her to meet me at the Capitol 4 movie theater at 7 p.m. tonight?
Okay,
Sure.
let's just stop. Sorry. Do we have any mistakes so far?
Yeah, for me, yes.
Which
Yeah.
one, Toma?
In this question, I already put. Would you mind ask her?
Okay, you selected would you mind?
Mhm.
Okay. If you remember, Thelma, yesterday I explained something. With would you mind,
And the verb.
we use a very specific verb. What type of verb?
ING form.
Exactly. Okay, and this is also for you, Rodolfo. When we use the phrase would you mind, you cannot say would you mind take. You have to say would you mind taking? Or
Okay.
would you mind call back? No. Would you mind
Calling or
calling back? Okay.
No.
You cannot say, would you mind open the door? What would be the correct thing?
Would you mind opening?
Would you mind opening the
Opening
door?
the door. Very good.
Mm.
Okay. Now, could you please, you use a verb in base form. Okay. Now, would you please, because this can also exist, but it's not very common when you ask for a favor or a request, right? Would you please, if you see this structure like this, just would you and please, or just would you open, okay? If you see only the word would plus the subject, you use a verb in base form. But if you see the word mind, remember, you use a verb in ing, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so what is the correct in this case?
Could you?
Could you ask? Very good. Okay, perfect. In your case, Rodolfo, everything okay so far?
No. Actually, the second answer was wrong for me because I wrote or choose, who are you?
Okay.
Hello,
Who?
hi, this is Leslie. Yes, who are you? Because I thought that Leslie is requesting to Cameron more information.
Okay, yes, he is asking for more information. But when you don't know who is calling, if you say, who are you? That's rude,
Mm,
okay? If you ask someone, who are you? That's rude,
okay, that's why
okay?
it's used, who's this?
Who's this? Now, remember, even though the translation of who's this is ¿quién es este? No se traduce así en español. Who's this
Ah,
es más como ¿quién está al teléfono? O ¿quién habla? Who's this? ¿Quién habla?
okay.
¿Okay? No se traduce como ¿quién es este? Okay? I know that it can be misunderstood because of the word this.
Mhm.
Okay? But remember, who's this? It's formal, it's polite, and the meaning is ¿quién está al teléfono? Who's this?
Okay.
Okay, any other
Yes,
mistake?
the next answer I wrote inside.
Okay. Maria inside. Okay. What's the difference between is Maria inside and Maria in? Maria inside shows a very specific place. Is Maria inside? You are already asking if she is like inside that room. Okay. But when we say is Maria in, we are trying to explain or to ask if she is available.
Oh, okay.
In this context, right? In this context of phone call. All right?
Okay.
Okay. Any other mistake?
Yes, exactly the next one.
Stepped.
Exactly, I wrote gone.
Gone out.
Mhm.
It could be used, no problem. But gone out is specifically if, for example, if you are in an office, gone out is that the person left home. Okay, and she is not coming back today. Now, stepped out, the difference between gone out and stepped out is that stepped out, the person left the house or left the office, left that place, but is coming back in a couple of minutes, in an hour.
Okay.
Okay, so remember, gone out is like not coming back at least today.
Okay.
Stepped out is she or he is coming back, but in a couple of minutes or in an hour.
Okay, in a short time.
In a short time, exactly.
Okay.
All right, any other?
In the next, I wrote whole, which is right, and the next one I
Okay,
wrote
let's
say again.
stop because we're going to continue the conversation. But please tell me, teacher, I have a mistake here. Okay, no esperen a que yo pause la conversación, sino que en el momento, teacher, I have a mistake here. Okay, Berta, continue with Leslie, sure.
Who's Berta?
Ay, sorry, Thelma. I'm thinking last student.
It's just a joke.
Oh my God, sorry.
Sure, just let me write that down. Oh, Cameron, could you hold for a second? I have to take another call.
No problem.
Hi, sorry about that. Now, could you please repeat that information? I didn't have a pen hand.
I have a mistake there because I wrote say again.
Okay, could you please say again that? It's valid. Okay. Now, say, it's not common. That's the only difference because say again and repeat, it's the same.
Okay.
Okay. Just say again, it's less common. All right, continue.
Okay.
Rodolfo?
Okay, I've got it. Is there anything, Anna?
Yeah, Rodolfo, I think he didn't read this one,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. Sure. It's the capital for theater at 7 o'clock.
Okay, I've got it. Is there anything else?
No, that's great.
Okay. Uh-oh, there's my other line again. I better run. That's a mistake for me. That was a mistake for me.
Okay, what did you select?
Hannah.
Hang on.
Yeah. But
So do I.
Yeah, it could be a little bit rude, I think.
The thing is that hang on is equal to esperar. Hang up is equal to colgar.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So, I better hang on es como, ay, me debo de aguantar.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
That doesn't make sense.
Yes. And yesterday we were discussing this expression, right? I better run. The meaning is not that you're literally going to run somewhere, right? It's just an expression where you mention the person that you have to leave, or the place, or that you have to hang up the call.
Yeah.
Now we had another phrase. Let me just remember which was it. Here, leaving, answering, ending. Okay. I'd better run, and this one, I'd better get going.
I better get going.
Okay. Remember, these expressions, when you use them in a phone conversation, it doesn't mean that you are going to leave the place or you're going to go somewhere else. The meaning of these expressions is a very polite way of saying I have to hang up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect. All right, let's finish the conversation, please.
Okay, thanks again. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Okay, did we select bye-bye?
Yes, I did it.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. All right, this is another expression to say goodbye. Bye now. Okay, in case you didn't know, this is another expression. Bye now. Okay, perfect. Questions about this conversation?
Mm,
We already checked questions.
We already discussed the words that were not clear.
maybe one, just maybe one expression. Pen
Sure.
handy.
This one. Okay, Thelma, can you explain, because this is something we saw yesterday, can you explain what's the meaning of handy?
Something that you have near to you to use for you.
Very good. Exactly. Handy, as we see over here, is easy to reach. For example, right now, I am on my desk. But over here, if I look, I don't have a pen handy. Okay, it's like in the area I see, I don't have a pen. So I have to probably stand up and look for another place where I have a pen. Now, okay, here. Now I have a pen over here and someone can ask me, do you have a pen handy? Yes, I do.
Okay.
Okay, so handy is something that is easy to reach. Now, in another context, it can also mean something that is useful. Okay, like, wow, the topic or the tip that you just said can be handy for me. Okay, or can come handy. Let me double check. Expressions with handy, because there is one expression specifically. Handy, like this. Let me just double check, and with that we can finish. Or something better. No. Hand over the fist, pay into someone's hands. Give me a second. No. Handy. No, it's not here. Handy expressions. Let me look for that word. Idioms. This one. Okay, come in handy. Come in handy, that was the expression I was looking for. Come in handy means to be specifically useful, often in a particular setting or situation. We have over here an example. It was a lot colder out than I thought it would be. So your jacket really came in handy. You see?
Okay.
So come in handy is like me sirvió en el pasado, right? Come. Now you can use it in the present. That flashlight comes in handy when I'm trying to find something in my car at night. That is in the present. O sea, esa lámpara me sirve, right? When I'm trying to find something in my car at night. This one is the one that we are seeing in the exercise. Have something handy is basically to keep something ready for future use in a location where it's within easy reach or readily accessible. The example that I was giving you, right? Tener un lapicero en mi escritorio sería handy, obviously, because I take note of things. I want to write something because I don't want to forget, then have something handy, okay?
Okay.
All right, now it's an idiom, okay? It's an idiom. Come in handy no se, no se traduce verbalmente, o sea, venir a la mano. No, right? Come in handy significa útil o que me sirve. Okay?
Okay.
Perfect. Well, we went 2 minutes up, but I hope that the information we got today, it's handy for you or it comes handy for you, right? Now, do you have any question about this information we saw today?
No. Thanks a
No, I
lot.
have no question. Thank you.
Okay, sorry for my camera that it's like with a demon. All right.
You seen that movie Samara? The Ring.
The what?
The Ring. The girl who lives in a hole.
I know, the
Yeah.
scary movie. I don't like that kind of movies. No.
It starts when the screen goes like you.